All right then. Part 5. We're on to Skyhammer. Skyhammer is a beautiful map. There is a very real reason why the introductory video to this series I showed off on Skyhammer, because it kind of expresses the fundamentals and principles at play here very well, and the fact that the devs know about it and incorporate it into the map in kind of meaningful, obvious ways with their newest stuff. Really starting with Skyhammer. Skyhammer's obviously gone through a ton of different changes over the years, and I'm not going to deny that. And it's had a lot of poor design over the years too, but the general principle of the way that kiting and jump spots work is very clear and laid out. Again, to some people's chagrin, I'm not really there to argue one way or the other with it, but it does mean that our job for this video is, generally speaking, very simple. So let's start here on the red team, and we will flow away around here. So side gate, first of all, we don't really have too much going on, but you do have this open ramp, and you've got these spots here. Now, I'm kind of inconsistent, to be honest, about how I've marked these. This flag here, for example, is a bit lower than it otherwise could be. So there's actually two like heights you can latch onto here. You could be at this height or at this height. Remember that you can port through on any class that's got those available. And then you have this one in this corner. I guess I have this one marked differently because I tend to use it a lot less frequently. But if anything, it's probably more valuable, especially to be able to port through there. So yeah, anyway, you've got the insides of those. Continuing along the edges, you've got a pretty classic, flea, line of sight, hidey spot over here. This is just an area of the map that people utilize a lot for that kind of thing. So we have that. Coming around towards the node, there is, first of all, the regular kiting areas, which I don't really have marked. So I have this marked as an airship right now, more often than not using this for kiting, obviously. Every time you're up on a platform like this, you cannot port on or off. It's fully off the grid. That's true here as well. That's true here. This is all very simple, and you guys, if you're new to the game, you should be practicing this stuff easily, very, very fast. And then, obviously, you can climb all the way up too. Very rarely do you actually catch people in the hole of that, for what it's worth, when it disables. But the other really cool thing, actually, you might not know, is there is an alternate way up. So if you are, you're being hazed by a guy here, you can actually climb on this, and then you're up, right? It's really, really simple. Even just climbing here, I still win 1v1s. Even just climbing here, because people don't know how to do it, or that it's possible. If you're up here, you're off the path, and you're out of melee range. Really, that's the one thing I haven't really expressed very well throughout these videos, is you're looking for two things in these spots, in a lot of these. High enough that melee attacks can't hit you with jumps, and also high enough that you can't be ported to. Those are the two really big distinctions, to be honest. And yeah, this is just really, really good. And this is also intentional. I mean, you might think that this is unintentional, whatever, with these like hidden steps here, but it is symmetrical. The devs have very carefully done it on both sides. So I don't know. I don't have a dev comment as confirmation that it's intentional, but I think it really is. Anyway, so as well, don't be scared to play around when you're up in these areas. So, for example, I have another marker here. You can kite all the way up onto this. Oh, sorry, so I'm missing that up here. More realistically, oh wow, and again, more realistically, you're going to jump over onto this. But from here, this is a nice place to stand when you're spawn camping. Remember, a very frequent thing in Conquest, if you've pushed and you've won your 1v1, and especially if you've got to rot the body, you kind of get time to sort of, you're going to want to take that fight again. So you watch for the way they're rotating, and you're going to try and get the jump on them, which increases your odds even further that you'll win the next one in a row. So, this is a really nice location for that. I don't think that's a spot. That looks like it might be one, but I've never used and don't have it marked. Maybe in the future. If I can get some practice for it, we might put it on a new version of the pack. But yeah, so don't be scared to play around on this stuff. Climbing higher up as well with the tree. There is stuff you can do here. Again, it's not often. Today I had a fight at the tree. But I didn't even use... at the tree, I mean here. But I didn't even have to climb up. So pretty rare. I can't imagine ever needing to come higher up than this. And again, there's fiddly stuff you can do around the sides, but that's about all that's practically worthwhile and necessary for games. Maybe you can climb around over here as well on the other side, but... and there's an invisible wall, sorry, just to be clear. We're behind an invisible wall here, so if you've done this, you're kind of in a very different area. But again, I don't really think too necessary. If I'm going to spawn camp, I tend to be further back on that green flag than on the tree flags. These just feel more vulnerable to me. Maybe with leaps you can go towards their base or something, but that's obviously a bit cheaty. Then also you've got the other side. So this is a ledge you can land on, and I frequently land on this. When you jump down onto this, people often fall. This is good. All of these places are amazing. If you can get them to fall while you're running from this, this is amazing. If you can do fake jumps here as well, and you can get them to fall, they're so good. But then from here, you've actually got a choice. You can jump around on the left here and play on these. Now remember, the jump pad will never actually take you to the one on the right, ever. If you've got a leap, you can get over there. And that's particularly important if you're against like a strength warrior that's running sword main hand. They'll follow you to that kind of place very easily, even if you've jumped all your way around. But the other thing you can do, is you can go on the right, and it kind of unlocks a whole path that way back when, I haven't done it for like at least a year. But if you come over here, you can jump onto this, and without any leaps, and I'm not even gonna risk it, this last jump here. Without any leaps, oh, now I've overshot it. You can actually get all the way onto this platform here. So this platform here, is kind of deceptive in some ways, because it's very central to the map. It's very open, right? But it's actually an extremely safe spot too. The sequence we've just used to get there, realistically, with just regular jumps, simple jumps, I don't know if you can go back, is quite a challenge, right? Now, here's the thing. If you can get your opponent into combat, the simple jump up here, which is this, is actually really tricky to pull off, and people will often mess it up. They'll jump too early, and they'll mess up, or they'll jump too late. You got to be kind of precise, so this is a good thing to practice here as well, perhaps deserving of a green kite here. But you'd be surprised once you get people in combat, and especially if you can get a bit of cripple or something. Maybe I'm just jaded at the moment because, you know, I'm running Imagined Burden on the Greatsword, so people are often crippled. This is just awesome, and I really, really do like this position, and you kind of got those two routes. Or once you get here, you know, if you come to the middle, utilizing that as an escape is great. And I must be honest, I only really know it on this half of the map. We'll get to the other one in a second. So here you have the side of the stairs, which you can often wait at if you're looking to decap after they've rotated off. You know, you're only a couple of short jaunts away from the actual node there. Not too useful, obviously. This rock I would love to have some consistent way on or to play with. I think that would be so cool, but I think it's all invisible walled off. And then it's, you know, it's fairly symmetrical. So you got a similar situation here that you can sometimes use. Following the edge. Oh, wait. And so I'm skipping here. And so you got this here. And this time you'll notice it's way higher, right? So I've never actually done it on this side of the map. And I don't... Maybe with leaps. And again, I keep talking about that. So with leaps, you can come here. This is pretty hype leap spot, to be honest. This is pretty goddamn good. I would really like this, because that's from a no port to another no port. You're really going to shake some aggression with that. And you've even got further movement you can use. If you pull over here, this is cool. But there's no regular jump on this side. So, you know, as much as they've tried on this map to keep things symmetrical, they really haven't in kind of a major way with this. So, yeah, anyway, you've got that coming all the way along. And obviously the sequence from the node is the same. I wonder if the devs had some sense that they wanted the close pointers to like always do this ridiculous sequence of jumps when they're rotating towards mid or something so that they're safe. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, simple to read, very obvious. I won't give you massive descriptions. Here you've got this rock, which is nice. Don't forget to play on. You can jump along over there. You can use this as a bit of a drop spot for what it's worth. But then also, once again, exact same asset, okay? With the 3 tiers, you can climb up and then make a simple jump over, okay? Well, I say this is a simple jump. In combat, that can actually be a real pain in the ass, so be cautious. And that's why I have a mark here. This is often sufficient, just standing here. The other thing as well is, you guys could probably tell from this video series, I often think in terms of like SD thieves and stuff. SD thieves are kind of horrible to play on this map because there are so many no ports everywhere, right? That people can easily get to. But they're also kind of really strong on this map. Because if I'm an SD thief, I can keep flicking up and down across the layers here. And if I'm an SD thief, I can port through these walls. And so they're kind of a mixed bag. Anyway, a spot like this is really good when you're running from that kind of aggression, because they can't port through the wall towards you. It's very, very simple to get to, okay? You can even make a mini jump there, an intermediary one. I can't say I've ever pulled it off. It's not marked. So then, yes, you got this as sort of a spawn camp vantage point. These I see no reason to ever utilize, ever. I don't think I've ever had a reasonable situation where I've thought of them. But again, just as before, where I marked like line of sight in. Oh, we got here. Now, I haven't got line of sight all the way over here. I know there's a lot of playable terrain, but frankly, you're also going to get seen and shot. So this is the pillar usually where you'd play a little bit more with that. So yeah. This is the enemy base, which you can climb up, and I'm well aware, guys. I'm not going to show it on this video. It doesn't matter anymore because the devs very recently added a kill barrier up there, knowing that that's a thing, and that's been fixed for the first time in many years, so that's pretty nice. Back over here, I almost missed this. This is a really useful spot here, okay? You can port off of it, but not onto it. Really, 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 really good, because you get good visibility of the node as well. So if I'm defending, most Skyhammer games, this is not an exaggeration, most Skyhammer games, if I'm kiting away and I don't want to take the time to use the jump pad and stuff, I will come here and I'll wait here. Bear in mind, by the way, to counter this, if you're like a Reaper or whatever, a lot of your animations can come straight through and hit people even while they're standing here, as long as you still have the target. So, yeah, be cautious of that. I guess I'll keep showing off the side point. So climbing up. There is no tree on this side of the map. So there's not so much to play with over here, really. But here, when the panel breaks, I haven't really got it marked or anything. You can actually be underneath. And then I don't know really what application that would be as that's rebuilt. But here, excellent drop spot. Like, truly excellent. People fall when they're trying to follow you through that. Sorry, I got no line of sight there. That's a really good drop spot. Here's a very basic kite here as well. And then obviously when you're higher up, I mean, there's no reason for me to mark all this, but you can stand here too. There's actually an invisible wall there as well. So maybe that's why I didn't mark it actually. Yeah, that's all I really know about on this side. I'm sure maybe there's some really silly things you can continue doing, but realistic for matches. There you go. Over here near your spawn, there's a no port. And you can actually clamber around quite a lot up here. But this is nice, especially if you're under heavy duress. You can stand there and then quickly get to this next location and move on. You've got our base. Nothing really of note that I know of that there's anything worth doing. And then we come around over here. This is all invisible walled off. You might think there's a lot of fun stuff to play with, but it's all nav meshed. It's all legal as far as I know. Continuing around. So we're now under mid. Obviously a great place to kite now. Here's another thing where the devs started getting really intelligent with the design. In terms of being under the nodes, they very cleverly, I don't know what, there's like an invisible mesh or something up here, which means you cannot actually use ground targets above you. So this is prominent because it means you can't directly jaunt on top, but also like if I was a staff ellie, I can't cast my AoEs underneath and have them land above. If I'm a Scourge, I can't cast my marks underneath and utilize them above. You might think, well, that's a ridiculous nerf because Staff Eddie's terrible anyway. But, yeah. So, you can't generally, though I will note, this here, you can see the real terrain is there. So, if you're standing from here, you actually can get an angle, right? And you can use your Infiltrator's Arrow, and you can use your Shadow Step, and you can cast AoEs from underneath. But generally speaking, most of it's blocked off, and they've done that intentionally, okay? So, you kind of just want to look at what the actual real floor is while you're under there. I guess that takes us neatly into mid, because there's nothing here as well that I really have anything of note to say. So at mid, walking into mid, there's an extremely useful location, and that's this one here. Okay, so there's actually two. So you've got this, first of all. I use this, again, most games. Nearly every time I'm bailing out of a mid, or I've been aggressed on spawn or something, and I find myself in this area, I nearly always jump to this. I mean, I honestly, I'm such a robot, to be honest. If you ever play against me, just know I'm going to come here. And so this is all no valid path. You can't port. Oh my god, you can port back up. I swear that that's not normal. Anyway, you can't port down to it. Is that symmetrical on the other side? Anyway, you can't port down to it. It's just generally a good location. People always fall underneath. And I don't know, people panic when they fall, you know. It is really, really easy to just take a teleport there and then move over. But if you're a Rev or a Guard or something, you're kind of screwed. So that's a nice place. And it's available on both sides. Coming up, you obviously have all of this kiting you can do. Again, an amazing fake jump location. You get a single one, especially in the central area, you're all good. But then you also get these little buildings. So, brilliant line of sight opportunities here. You're going to use these if you're on your Sikkim Soul Beast, your whatever, your ranged DPS. Lots of fun. And there's another one over there. But then as far as these buildings are concerned, you can actually climb around on them. Now, with traditional skills and stuff, I vaguely have a memory of actually being able to get fully on top, but I don't really know. You can jump, you can climb up. So this already is enough. This green flag is already enough for most purposes. But if you are being followed, or if you've got some preparation time, you can practice getting into this jump, or even this one over here, and right round to the other side. And so, yeah, from here as well, from down on this platform, you can do a similar thing that I was talking about before, and you can land halfway up. So there's just all these staggered things, and if they follow you here, you drop, but you don't fall all the way, as I just demonstrated there. That's what you want your enemy to do. You're going to land on this, all right? There's a ton you can do here. There's also a really weird one I only learned about this year through a streamer, and it's here on the jump. So you jump across and you go onto like the holographic stuff, and there's just a little bit of collision out here. So this I've never used really. I would always go for one of these other ones that I have more muscle memory for or whatever. But this is kind of hilarious. The reason why this is bad is because if someone's following you, well, maybe they would jump off because they think that they're just going to take the fight lower down, right? This is kind of nice as well, and that you're going to bait them into some full damage there as well. So quite a lot of situations, if you've been giving as good as you've been getting, you might insta-kill them with full damage if you do it right. But yeah, this is one of those situations where I think the marker pack actually offers something a little more than just marking locations. This actually helps you with the jump. Very rarely the marker pack ever does that. They'd have to be very precise and stuff. I don't ever really help you with muscle memory. You have to practice that and learn that. But here, having a marker to actually know where the safe space is actually kind of nice. And you might be able to keep going as well. I don't know. And that is not symmetrical, by the way. That's only on one half. Why is it like that? I don't know. Ask ArenaNet. Obviously not an intended one, but kind of funny. And hey, yeah, maybe get that full damage in there, and you can do some good stuff. So, as far as the perimeter is concerned, that takes us back towards the entrance, and this is their base. This, for what it's worth, I often use as a line of sight area, but I don't know, that's mostly spawn campy scenarios. So, right, let's try and do slightly more central stuff now. So, underneath here, this is a dead end, so be very aware that this is dead end. However, utilizing this dead end is extremely powerful on a build like this, because when you jaunt up, you're doing awesome. Quite often you can flee from like a soul beast or a spellbreaker who's been side noding, and they think that they've got you trapped, and if you jaunt up, you have wholly dominated them, because their only entrance up to join you now is a long walk. So that's really what these tunnels are great for. Not that I've ever successfully done this. Believe me, it would be a bonus clip if I did. But this is also really good against revs and soul beasts using smoke assault. So when they tether onto you, if you pop yourself into the corridor and then their animation ends and you force them into it, then you leave, you know, you've just dunked them as well. That's a way of eliminating them from the fight hard. I mean, in the case of the rev, they could just death strike out or whatever again. But for the soul beast, that would be kind of an amazing play. Sorry, we already showed that area off there. Now, up at the hammer, I have nothing marked. I would go up there, and a lot of these markers I've been checking and learning just now. You know, things I remember, but also, like, actually manually going through. I haven't manually gone through and looked at anything up there. That room changed quite a lot recently. They made it bigger and stuff, got rid of all the floor and stuff, things where you can fall through. But in pre-game lobbies, which is where I build the marker pack, just like where you see this video, the gate never turns on. So I just don't know. Here, the most basic, fundamental, no ports in the game, and with a leap, you can obviously go off to those corner areas. I play with these all the time. I'm always joining up to the side, making the jump, and then jumping back across if they get over. Like, this is actually some really hilarious and fun interactions with core guards and stuff on this map. In some ways, I hate this map, especially when I'm playing Fresh Air, because all the lines of sight and obstructs kind of make Fresh Air terrible here. You may as well just face roll on something that's good with point-blank AoE and cleave, like a Reaper or something. But it is fun when you are on something glassy on this map, I will say. So you got that because you can utilize all this terrain. Then there's the gate itself, and I use this a lot as well. So one important distinction of this map, it's a bit out of the scope of this marker pack, right? But is when you're pushing to mids, it's very narrow. and you're cluttered with your allies, and people are always looking to bomb damage, right? They're always looking to push to about here and get their 1200 range damage on this choke. And people stealth. If you're anything remotely squishy, and you're also going to be near the mid fight because you're not, you're not side noding or whatever, this is kind of a horrible place to be in. I nearly always jump down on the right, and my route to mid, I nearly always walk up along these. So this is actually really safe, really comfortable. Unfortunately, it's a bit too safe and comfortable, and you get followed very, very well, and people often aggress you. But you can use this. If you're initiating from here, people won't necessarily know you're here, especially if you can splash some stealth into the mix as well. And then you can get your drops on people. It's very easy to jaunt. Oh, I'm failing pretty miserably here. In combat, when you move a bit slower, some of these get easier as well, by the way. So, like, when you move a bit slower in combat, you're a bit more sticky on a location like this. So, yeah, I got just 2 green flags marked as kite spots. There's a no port on top of the gate. And this is a nice spot as well. If the gate is up and you're trying to flee from people, if you can get onto this spot, you're already safe. But if push really comes to shove, you can press F from here, and it will take you up to the hammer from here. So it's kind of a nice spot for that reason as well. And I utilize that on quite a few occasions. And that's the map, isn't it? I think. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything. Obviously, I didn't talk about the flags here or the tunnel here, but it's all exactly the same. I don't know of any specific 1/2 map changes as far as that's concerned. And, so yeah, sorry, I thought I'd broken my recording for a second there. So yeah, there you go, that's Skyhammer. Very simple, sort of half a map to get through, really, because it is so symmetrical. But there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks very much for watching. And, this will be a cool one to return to when we look at leaps, I think. But until then, I'll see you guys next time.